All right, seventh graders, this is chapter 7, input 16 and 17, the forming of our government. Starting out with input 16, the Articles of Confederation, which you have now read. After the Revolutionary War, the colonies became 13 independent states. State constitutions by 1780, 11 of the 13 states had adopted constitutions. So the limiting of power, the concentration of power was a concern for the new states, so many of these states created a bicameral legislature. Those who served in the state legislatures were elected by popular vote and very often to make sure that one person did not get too much power ever, because the idea of having power in just one person's hand was very scary after having a monarch for so long. And only white males 21 years of age that owned property were allowed to serve and vote. So creating and forming a republic. So in 1777, Congress adopts the Articles of Confederation. The states retained their sovereignty, or the ability to self-rule. Congress could not regulate trade, force citizens to join the army, impose taxes. Congress could, though, conduct foreign affairs, maintain an army, and borrow money, which they did in quite a lot. So government under the Confederation, good things. Won the Revolution, expanded trade, helped with the governing of the Western Territories. Bad things. A weak central government. Congress had limited authority, and all 13 states needed to change the articles. So money, money, money. Money that was printed during the Revolutionary War was becoming worthless. High inflation. And the Continental Congress had a large debt to pay off, and the states were unwilling to pay up. So Robert Morris decided, let's have an import tax on all goods coming into America. Unfortunately, all 13 states had to approve a tax on the Articles of Confederation, and Rhode Island said, I don't think so. British problems, England was blocking trade with the West Indies, which made it very difficult to try to trade. The Spanish had issues too with us. Spanish was trying to block American expansion west of the Mississippi River. Spain shut down access to the Mississippi River down in Louisiana. An agreement was brokered, but southern states did not agree with the agreement, and the agreement fell through. Many Americans concluded that America needed a stronger government. And now we come to input 17, Convention and Compromise. The citizens of the United States realized the government under the Articles of Confederation was not working. George Washington and delegates from all states except Rhode Island traveled to Philadelphia to revise the Articles. The young nation was suffering from a severe economic depression. This depression made people act out in frustration. So what happens is, because of all the issues with the Articles of Confederation, George Washington and many others decided that they were going to change it by revising it. The original goal was not to replace it, but to revise. Slavery. The American Revolution brought to light the hypocritical practice of slavery and how it was at odds with life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. All states except Georgia and South Carolina outlawed or taxed the importation of slaves. Common practice from governments is to tax something that they don't think is good without banning it totally. It's done very often. In 1783 through 1804, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New York, New Jersey all passed laws to end slavery. Here's just some images to remind you of slavery. We see up at the upper left, a slave master holding a baby African slave, whipping other ones. Very awful, and I included a picture of the boat from the Middle Passage just to make sure that we remember where this came from. Madison and Hamilton, agents of change. Madison and Hamilton called for a convention to fix the Articles of Confederation. James Madison and Alexander Hamilton will end up being very important pieces of America now and in the future. So May 1787, 55 delegates, 26 of those delegates had college degrees. This is a time period when only 1% of white men went to college, and George Washington was the presider over the convention. So 2 plans enter and only 1 may exit. First we have the Virginia Plan. one of the largest states in the new United States. James Madison said states' representation be by population, a bicameral legislature, or proportional representation, where depending on how many people you had is how many representatives you would have in Congress. Small states did not like this. So the counter was the New Jersey plan, a one-house legislature, equal representation, elect the executive branch, and what happens is a thing called the Great Compromise, a two-house legislature with the House and the Senate, House being a representation based on population, and the Senate is equal or representation, 2 per state. So more citizenship and slavery, we have the 3/5 compromise. This is where a slave in the slave states would count for 3/5 of a free person when it came to figuring out how many representatives states would have. And September 17, 1787, the Constitution Day. Here is a picture from Independence Hall in Philadelphia where the Constitution was debated, written about, and put into law. Thank you.